Hello, welcome to Happy Learning Maths. Once again, in this video, we are going to explore the solving of inequalities. And in this lesson, we will focus on the case when the coefficient of the unknown is negative. And what do I mean by coefficient negative? Let me just illustrate that with a few examples. Okay, let's say we have an unknown, we call them an N, or an unknown that is A, or an unknown of a T, all right? So now, if there is a negative coefficient, what does it mean? It can be something like -4, yep, so that is a negative coefficient, or it can be just a simple -1, or it just can be any, for example, -6. So this is what it meant by a negative coefficient. And I have also put in that simple phrase. That is the main and only idea you want to keep in your mind whenever you are solving an inequalities involving a negative coefficient. We will explain further the reasons why. All right, so now this is what we're going to do. Why in the first place are we flipping sign? Okay, so we want to give an example, some simple, straightforward example. Let's say we have a number 2 and a number 5. And all of us know that 2 is lesser than 5. No issue about that. And we know that this is true. Okay, let's see what happened if we were to do something with some negative sign. And let's illustrate this. If I just add a -5, a negative sign in front of negative, in front of 5, I've gone ahead of myself, right? Okay, so now if we add a negative sign in front of 5, so it has become 2 lesser than -5. And all of us will know that, oh no, that's no longer a true statement. So therefore, this has completely changed the case, and this is now a false statement. Okay, so now how would we fix this so that we can restore it back to a true statement? So this is what we need to do. Let's copy this and put it down here, and let us see how are we going to fix this. Okay, here's the thing that involved flipping sign. So now I just take this sign and I will just flip it across like that. Okay, do you notice what I've done? I just flip this one aside. Okay, from lesser than, I've just changed that to bigger than. And then now, let's examine this statement. You notice that 2, positive 2, is indeed bigger than -5. And now you can happily remove that nasty false word from our writing and replace it back to true. All right, so that is the simple reasons why we flip sign. And in our working, when would we encounter this? All right, so I'm going to leave some space down here to show you on what occasion. In a simple word, I was just going to do that. I'm just going to summarize that whenever we multiply, okay, or divide a number with a negative number. So now let me illustrate that. Okay, for example, if you have If you have, say for example, you have 4x, and then you have an 8, okay? Well, in the normal time, we have no problem with that because we can just take the x divided by 4, both sides, and then you do not have to flip the sign because the statement will remain true. But this time, if you have a negative 4x and bigger than 8, so let's see what's the difference. When you have to divide negative for both sides, right? Divide negative for both sides. So this is the main reason. When you multiply or divide anything with a negative number. So when you divide 4, so now when you have to divide 4, this is when the sign will have to be flipped. Let me do that properly. Okay, this is when you have to flip the sign because of what we have explained just now. So now x is going to be negative 2. Okay, so next x is less than negative 2. This is the example. All right, so if we were to do another example using multiplication, okay, so let's say if we have a negative x, which is, let's say, bigger or equal to 7. If we to multiply negative onto both sides, so let's say we multiply negative here, and going to multiply negative here, and you're going to get x. And this time you're going to flip the sign to become like that. And then here you got a negative 7. Okay, so this is the very simple reasons why we flip the sign whenever we have to multiply or divide a negative number. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's hop on to take some real equation and let us practice with them. Okay, now let's copy this. As of now, you may pause the video. I've explained previously and demonstrated how is the flipping sign involved in solving inequalities. I'd encourage you to pause it now and join me later as we go through the solving steps together. Shall we? Okay, so now I believe you have done some attempting on your side. Let's go on and see this. So now we have the coefficient of negative 4, all right? So we know that eventually we're going to flip sign. Okay, let's now divide 4 both sides. So when you divide 4 both sides, you know that the 20 is going to be divided by 4, and then the sign. May I just put in a little bright red color to draw your attention? From lesser or equal, now we change to bigger or equal. Now with that, we conclude that x is bigger, any number that's bigger than negative 5. And that's it. All right. So if you want to make more sense about your solution, let's do some illustration or test it out. Okay. So let's take, for example, when x bigger or negative than 5, let's put in some kind of number that's relevant, that's correct to that. Let's put in as negative 2. Shall we? Yep, negative 2 is bigger than negative 5. Let's substitute that in. So negative 4, substitute with negative 2. Let's see, do we produce the statement that's correct? So negative 4 times negative 2 give us a positive 8. And does it make sense? Yes, exactly. It is true. All right. So you can put any number. Why not we take one more example? How about x is any number bigger, right? So put in 5, my favorite number. Okay, so just put in there -4 multiply 5. Is it still true? Is it still a true statement? So you got -20 lesser or equal than 20. Yes, one more time to confirm that it is a true statement. So this is the illustration. When we flip the sign, to maintain a true statement whenever we multiply or divide with a negative number. Let's move on to another example. Well, I would encourage you to pause the video now, work on it yourself, and join me later as we go through the solving process together. See you soon. While waiting for you, what I'm going to do is I prepare the solution. Okay, so I believe you have attempted that on your exercise book and whatever writing materials. Now let's go on to solve this. Okay, I'm going to just I'm just going to -2 both sides. Okay, shall we just -2 both sides? So you're going to get -8y lesser than 74 minus 2. You notice whenever you add or minus, you will not change or challenge the sign. It's not going to affect anything. Okay, so now let's write the second sentence that we get 72 here. Here is the part we need to divide 8 on both sides, or we can multiply. Okay, I've demonstrated with dividing. Why not illustrate with multiply negative? Okay, if I were to multiply negative here and also multiply negative here, I wanted to see that we actually flip the sign in order to maintain the correct statement. Okay, so after multiply, you're going to get 8y. And here you're going to get -72. And then in order to maintain, we notice that if we didn't do anything, if we just maintain that, okay, you're going to cause a false statement. So in order to do that, so after multiplying a negative sign, whoa, so that's what we're going to do. So we flip it over from less than, we change that to bigger than. All right, so from now, yes, go on as usual, divide +8. Now you left with -72 divide by 8. Y must be any number bigger than -9. All right, so this is how you solve that successfully. Let's go to another example. When the unknown has been spread out on the left-hand side and right-hand side. Pause the video now and join me later. Okay, I'm sure you have tried that out. Let's go and do that together. Okay, I'm going to copy down the question here for the solution. Here we go. We'll just put the like term onto one side together respectively. So I -9 both sides to shift the 9x to the left, and then I'm going to +10 both sides to shift the 10 onto both sides. Now we have -2x, which is bigger than 12. Here we go. Here's the dramatic moment. Yes, now you're going to divide -2. Yes, the smart you will remember to flip the sign. Yeah, from bigger than to less than. Then you come to your celebrative moment when you're going to get the final and your full mark answer. Okay, go ahead and test it out. Take any number less than -6, substitute into both statements in the equation, and you're going to find you get a true statement. Okay, now the final example in this video. Pause it now and work on it together. See you later. Okay, I believe you have done that. Let's go and check it out. Let's have more happy moment and experience as we go through that together. Okay, as usual, I'm going to gather all the x on the left-hand side of the equation and all the constant on the right-hand side of the constant of the equals of the sign. So minus 3x minus 6x. Now we get that as 31. Now I'm going to minus 4 both sides to get this. Okay, now on the left hand side we get minus 9x, and the sign will still maintain, still the usual, bigger or equal. Then 31 minus 4, we know that you're going to get 27. Now this is the dramatic moment when you divide 9 both sides. Okay, this is when you wanted to flip the sign and then divide minus 9. Now x is now must be any number that is equal or lesser than minus 3. Okay, before I end this video, I just want you to see how meaningful is your solution by testing it out. Okay, so let's take this equation so that you will see how easy or how smart you can be by solving it. Okay, let's take, for example, okay, let's take x, for example, let's x any number lesser than minus 3, right? Negative 3, let's put in minus 10. Okay, so now let's substitute that. So 4 minus 3 with negative 10. Do we maintain the equation, the inequality, as a true statement? So now 4 minus 3 times minus or negative 10, we know that we got a positive. And then here 6 multiply negative 10, you get negative 60 plus 31. Here we got 43, and then minus 60 plus 31, we got that as minus 29. Is 43 bigger or equal than 29 minus 29? Of course, this is the true statement. Congratulations. So you have actually put meaning into your solution, and by following the steps of flipping the sign for the coefficient, flipping the sign when the coefficient is minus. Let me just highlight the coefficient. Flip the sign when the coefficient is negative. Here again, negative coefficient, flip the sign. One more time to remember them better. We're going to have a negative coefficient, flip the sign, and one final reminder, yes, you have a negative coefficient and you flip the sign. And by doing that, you will surely 100 out of 100%, you will get the correct solution. All right, so that's how fun it is solving inequalities even when their coefficient is negative. One more time, let me remind all of us, flip the sign. Okay, so that's all, and then enjoy happy learning, and then I'll see you in the next video. All right, thank you. Until then, bye-bye.